This is Lewis Hart for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store, Forged Irish Stout, freebets.com. Delighted to be joined with Johnny Nelson. We're at the weigh-in here for Fabio Wardley v Frazer Clarke. So the fight week build-up's almost done. All really is left to weigh in and fight. Have you found the build-up and I suppose everything that's gone into this fight week?
So far, so good. I think the fight week's been great. I think the fans are starting to roll in. The press coverage has been spot on, and I actually think it's going to be a wicked night. I think the bill itself is ridiculous. You know, any of these fights could have been headliners or chief support, but wicked fight, wicked night.
Do you feel like after yesterday, Wardley and Clarke almost talked they're talked out of sort of saying things to each other?
They're talked out. They just want to fight. They just want to fight. I think there's nerves. There's a lot at stake. They just want to get on with it. So they talked out. They just want to get the weighing done, get out of there. Next time they see each other is when they're in the ring.
Did want to ask you, obviously being a former cruiserweight world champion, did want to ask you about the cruiserweight fight on the card. Viddal against Mikael Lawal. Mikael with a sort of hostile approach to the press conference, especially the face-off, kept on telling him to shut up. Viddal sort of the hardest fight of his career so far, would you say?
Without a doubt. And I think for Viddal, he has to. I think the higher the risk, the better the result for him. So therefore, he needs a task like this. He knows it is. He's not under no illusion, and so therefore he'll lift his game up. For Lawal's trying to mentally intimidate and put him in his place. He said, "Boy, you don't belong up here." So now you'll see the emergence of another fighter. I remember when Lawal boxed Isaac Chamberlain, and Viddal was working with it. I said, that's what you need as your next opponent, you know, to take you to the next level. We don't know how good Viddal is. There's a lot of expectation, so we need to see how he steps through this hoop, and then after that there's going to be more hoops. That's boxing, and we're still on a domestic level.
Another thing I did want to talk about at the press yesterday, they get stormed by a guy wanting to fight Ben Whittaker. What did you make of that? And it definitely wasn't something that was planned?
Well, it wasn't planned. He's done the right thing in regards to making people be noticed, you know. And so if we're talking about what Ben does to get himself, you know, in a position where he's probably one of the most popular names out there in current boxing, he's not even a British champion. This young man is monetising himself with business. He did a club of Lang, and he needs to keep doing that. He needs to keep making an arse of himself where he cannot be ignored, because that will not only put some more zeros on when they fight, it might get him a fight, get him the fight he wants. You know, there might be a pathway through every time Ben fights somebody, chase and fight those people Ben and box and make a statement. He's done his job. You know, he's made himself a business.
Absolutely. I did want to move on. Obviously there was a sort of not really an altercation, but obviously Andy Clarke and Ben Whittaker both had a bit of an argument yesterday after the press. I'm not really going into too much of that, but I suppose there was a comment that Ben made about sort of asking if Andy boxed, and he said sort of dismissing his opinion. You are obviously a former world champion, and you obviously do share your opinion. What do you sort of make of the thing of I suppose if you haven't boxed, you don't really have an opinion, or that sort of claim?
Everybody has an opinion, but the problem is when you haven't done it, the people that don't have an opinion, their opinion's being listened to over the people that have actually done it. Now, I think Ben took offence to Andy's critique of his performance. That's his opinion, and Andy, I think Andy held his own and explained why. It was no bad feeling. So that's what I think. You know, that's what he did. For Ben's doing his job. So how Andy has the right to say what he feels, so does Ben. Ben don't like it. You know, so he pulled him up on it. So it's not personal. He just got on with the job and pulled him out. So I think people are trying to make a bigger deal of it than what it is. And this, all fighters are like that. Ben just said it publicly. No fighter likes being criticised. No fighter likes anybody's opinion being given on him if he doesn't agree with theirs. So nobody was in the wrong and nobody was in the right. Andy said it how he saw it, and Ben saw it how he saw it.
Just a sort of final one for that. I suppose if you have boxed before, do you feel like your opinion would then hold more weight? Would you say
that again?
Would your opinion hold more weight as to someone who maybe hasn't boxed?
Yeah, it would. And that's why, you know, if a fighter's being interviewed by a fighter, you know, I do the gloves are off. I'm a fighter. I know when fighters are bullshitting, you know, and maybe I can say certain things that someone that hasn't boxed can't say, because I've done that. And that's how it is. But in this environment, when you've got the media working with you, working and doing a job and having an opinion, you can't temper opinion. So that's just his opinion. So there's nothing wrong with it. But yeah, you're right. Fighters interviewing fighters can say certain things. You can't.
Yeah, I know that. I know. Yeah.
Say to a fighter, "We're scared," or "You can't fight," or "You box X, Y, Z." You can't say that. You can ask questions, but you can't really ask many. You can't really overstep the mark.
Do you think people are more sensitive to give opinion then? Like are people more sensitive now to opinions?
They are sensitive, but this is modern day boxing. Grow up, man. You know, don't take it personal. I don't think Ben took it personal. I just think everybody else seeing it, oh my God. That's why I made a joke here and went, ooh, that was a bit awkward. But I just found it, you know, it's not a big deal. Not a big deal.
I suppose just on the fact of, I suppose for yourself, when you've given your opinion and get called as haters, like, do you feel like people are quick to, if you do have a negative opinion, straight away it makes you a hater?
Exactly. I'm an ex-fighter, so I have more right to say that than anybody. You know, so when I say something, I say what I say, and if you ask me why I said it, I'll give you a reason why I've said it. That's my right as being the next fighter. I've been an ex-champion, and so maybe I can say stuff that people are thinking, but I can't say because they've no right to say it.
So just picking this back up now with Johnny Nelson after the weigh-in. So we'll just talk about the weigh-in there. So everyone made weight, a bit fiery, especially the Congo Marku one. So happy with what you saw there?
Yeah, of course. I think all the hard work has been done by everybody. The PR stuff's been done by everybody. I know when I say PR, it sounds like it's all pre-arranged, but it isn't. These fighters, there's serious intent, desire from these fighters. You can't play boxing, so you can't pretend to get in there and I'll hit you, you hit me. So these guys, they've done their media obligations, and they hate this week. I think Chris Congo was the one that probably switched it up a little bit. All week he's been really cool, really calm, not said anything. Then he wanted Marku's last impression of him to be in his face, and he did a great job. Marku actually seemed a little stunned by his response, so it was pretty cool.
Absolutely. Just moving on from that, I did want to sort of get your thoughts on comments that Alex Krassyuk made about his reluctancy that Tyson Fury will turn up on May 18th. He seems like he can't guarantee it, and when it comes to Tyson Fury, where is this reluctance from now that people are doubtful about him and all those claims about him?
I think the problem with Tyson Fury and the reason why the doubt's there is because of track record, and that's it, and so you're going on experiences. So Alex is probably saying what he's saying to make it even harder to him. If he believes Tyson Fury is going to try and excuse or squeeze his way out of it, he's trying to make it, he's putting subtle passive pressure on him to say, you know, and that's what you do if you're going to fight somebody and you know they've got a tendency to pull out, or you think they've got a tendency to pull out, you're going to say stuff to make it put even more pressure on them to make sure they don't pull out. So this is just a bit of gameplay to make sure the fight does happen.
Do you think that there is sort of any of this could get to Fury? Like, is there any way you could sort of get to this man? The same with Usyk, I guess.
So if I'm honest with you, you know, when things are said, if they're true, then you've got a problem. You've got a problem with people in your circle, because how's it getting out? If they're false, ignore them. And it's that simple. It depends on how strong a character you are. And so would it get to him? If there's any truth in it, yes it would. If there's not, no it won't.
So just a final one from myself. On Fury, I heard you had an altercation with him in the airport, I guess?
I didn't have an altercation with him, I didn't hear it. But I had earphones on, and it was after the AJ fight, and I thought he was pretty cool. He was walking through the airport with his wife and one of the boys, and he was saying something, but I thought it was nice, and I just waved, but I had my earphones on. And my daughter was laughing afterwards. She said, "Dad, could you not hear what you were shouting?" Yeah. I didn't even know he was shouting, so he was shouting I think he thinks I've got it in for him, so he's shouting something colourful. So I just thought, come on, man. But I did smile about it. I'm like, why would you take stuff like, if I ain't fighting, you're the one that's fighting, you're the one that's doing all your work, why would you even bother about it?
I was going to say, like, where do you think this comes from him? If it's clearly something again.
I think where it comes from. It comes from third-hand information. It comes from people in his ear saying Nelson said this, he must think that, he must think this. That's where it comes from. Because I personally don't have anything against Tyson Fury. I call bullshit out. And when you're surrounded by people that may have other agendas to get for them to have your loyalty, they're going to try and shit stir. if Tyson Fury spoke to me directly in regards to any of these matters, he won't be getting it third hand or second hand. He'd get it straight from the horse's mouth and understand what I'm saying, why I'm saying it. But because he's getting it from different sources with different agendas, of course these people will do and say these things to try and secure their position with him. So I know what they're doing. I know how this game plays. I've been in this game for far too long. I've seen bullshitters, I've seen hustlers coming out of game. And if you're a fighter, fighters understand. And you may tolerate bullshitters in your working with you or working for you because it suits. But I'm just saying how it is. I call it how it is.
Absolutely. Johnny, thank you for taking time to speak to me. I appreciate you letting me finish this interview after we got shortly abrupted before the weigh-in. So I do appreciate it, mate, and enjoy tomorrow night, mate. Top man. Thank you, brother. Cheers.